Good morning everybody, welcome. And my name's Richard and this is the Cooper Born. And what I want to do with this car is just kind of get a feel for its real world range and efficiency in typical UK conditions, which at the moment is moderately mild but rather wet and drizzly, so not too uncommon. What we've got to do is go from here today in New Milton and drive across to Bristol. And what I think we'll do is take the cross-country route, so across all the Dorset countryside, lots of country roads and A roads and stuff like that in some rather wet, damp conditions here. And then we'll come back, and we might come back along the motorway journey. So we'll get a couple of gauges of just how efficient this car really is and what its real world range is going to be under true real life conditions. We're not going to be driving for efficiency, just real world life with this car. Again, part of our normal daily activities, we're just going to deliver a car over to Bristol. So we'll just use this as a second vehicle. And let's see what we get. In the meantime, let's get in the cars. We're going to cover a few miles of this, probably a couple of hundred miles today, I think. The first part is about 80 miles across the country. Get our first impressions of what this is like to drive. Again, after spending a day in the car, you tend to be able to then pick out properly a few of the things that you really like and a few of the things that you may not like quite so much. And that's annoying. Yeah, there, it could go there. Get rid of all the buttons on the steering wheel. So yours are all wonky. And then we can always follow up in more detail as a second review and comparison with the ID3 in the next video, so stay subscribed. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so just a quick update. I'm a passenger, by the way, don't worry, look into driving. So this morning with all the country roads we did, this wasn't doing bad for efficiency at all, 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour. And in fact, when we passed the 50% state of charge of the battery, it's a bit lower now, we're at 47 now, but when we passed 50%, we'd actually covered about 120 miles, just under 120 miles. So then, in theory, we're on course for a 240 mile of range. But we're on the motorway now, we're going to take the long route back, so all motorway journey. And let's have a look. So we've got 105 miles to get back. How much range we got? 107 miles of range. So you could probably make this go back in one go, but I think we're just going to lose efficiency now at the constant 70 just because of the wind resistance and drag. And I wouldn't mind doing a little charging session on this anyway, just to see what charging speeds we get. So we might, if we have time, stop off on the way back for a charge and just see how quickly it charges. Or we might just head back if we've got plenty. We'll see how it goes. As I say, I think we'll do a full review as a second video. There's one thing that's really annoying both of us, isn't it, Gins? 3, 2, 1.
Toxic buttons.
2 buttons on the steering wheel. God, they're a nightmare. They are an absolute nightmare. Let me show you. All right. So if you set anything like, Gins is making a conscious effort not to put his palm.
Yeah, I have to now drive like this.
Okay, now put your thumb where they say. And you just
I'm already pressing something. Like, it's just so annoying.
Put your thumbs in here. So yeah, look. See, it's not that hard to.
I just adjusted cruise control. 75.
Yeah, so now you're doing 75 and the volume's gone off. Yeah, now try and turn the volume up.
You think like up?
You think you just push it? No. No, you have to stroke it, don't you? Now down again.
And then it makes weird noise as well when you do that for some reason.
It makes a noise over the thing whilst you're changing it. There maybe there's a setting for that, but other than that, I quite like the Cupra. It's all good, but this haptic steering wheel is really bugging both of us.
Again?
See, you've knocked it to 75 again. Yeah. I don't know why. Just put buttons on it. It was fine before. It's really annoying, isn't it?
This as well.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll cover the full review in another video, so stay subscribed. Okay, we just made a quick stop off here at some Shell recharge here. We've nearly got enough range to get back, but we need to stop anyway and use the toilet and stuff. So I'm just going to plug in to the Shell, get it charging. We'll only stop for a little bit, but I kind of wanted to charge anyway to see what kind of charging speed we can pull. So plug it in, bring up my Apple Pay. Quick contactless payment there. It's done. So let's see how long it takes to do the handshake and communicate with the car. Now accepted, some clicking noises. So the Cupra can charge up to 130 kilowatts. which is pretty good, but we've still got 24% battery at the moment, so we're not right in the low state of charge, which is often what you need to get the best. But it'd be interesting to see what we get. This is a 175 kilowatt charger. So you can see we're here, we've still got 24% of the battery. Let's see what we get at this state of charge. That's pretty good. And I'll talk to you in a minute about efficiency and real world range. Oh, nearly went above 100 kilowatt, but it stopped at 100 kilowatts. Okay, well that's pretty quick. Right, let's get in the car and we can talk to you about efficiency and range, because there's a couple of versions here. One is the efficiency, oh, quite warm out there now. The efficiency when before we got on the motorway, so that was town and country roads. And that was running about 4.2, 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is pretty good. But since we've been on the motorway, it has dropped down. The aero is pulling this one back. So when you're cruising at a constant 70 like we have, it's just limited a little bit by the aero. So let me show you this. So since we started charging, we covered 170 miles and we had 24% of the battery left. So I think that's pretty good. That's not too bad. And we averaged 4.1 because I reset this one when we got on the motorway and we were averaging about 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour for the last 63 miles. So I did some calculations on this, and it would work out if we just take where we're at now and the amount of battery we use for the miles we covered, so a real mixture of everything, it would give a real world range of 224 miles. So I don't think that's too bad at all, is it? I don't think that's too bad at all. And then if it's charging at 100, even up to 130 kilowatts, then a quick top up is sufficient. So we're just going to be here for sort of 10-15 minutes whilst we go to the toilet and grab a drink and that kind of thing. And then we'll just do the last bit of the journey. But a real world range, 224 miles. Yeah, I think that's all right, actually. Not too bad at all. And you've got to remember, look, it's 2:45 in the afternoon. We've been driving this car basically all day. We've got in and out and stopped a few times, done some other bits, but you know, yeah, it's 2:45 in the afternoon and we do want to stop and go to the toilet, so it's hardly any inconvenience at all. Right, so we'll see how long we stop and charge up for, how much we put in, and then we'll move on. Okay, we've been here for 10 minutes, that's taken us back up to 49% state of charge. That'll do, we'll move on. Still charged at 73 kilowatts, just, yeah, 73, 72, 73, 72. Well, that'll do, let's move on. I noticed that our Hyundai Ioniq also has the copper accents, much like the Cupra. Anyway, let's give you some roundup of the figures and numbers for the Cupra Born then for that day. So the last section of the journey travelling back from the charging there, we actually averaged 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour again. But that was because of slow traffic. We actually averaged 50 miles per hour because it was contraflow most of the time and coming back through the forest. So what I would say is it does seem to be quite easy to get over 4 miles per kilowatt hour with the Cupra in those conditions. But on the motorway, kind of 70 miles per hour, it does seem to be about 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Based on the numbers we had earlier in the day, based on the percentage of battery used versus the miles we covered, that prorated out to about 224 miles of range. But if you then back calculate that a little bit, that seems to be allowing a usable battery capacity of about 52 kilowatt hours. Now, sorry, Cupra, VW Group, Cupra, say this actually has 58 kilowatt hours of usable, so slightly over 60 kilowatt hour gross pack. So the difference between the 58 and 52 perhaps is kind of like reserve battery capacity. But nonetheless, what it has proven is that over 200 miles on one charge of this is actually quite a comfortable, easy thing to do on a longer run, no problem at all. And even if you then extrapolate, let's take worst case scenario, you've got say 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour times by the 52 kilowatt hours perhaps usable, that's still 198 miles of range there. There's no doubt, and I've noticed because my wife has the ID3, remember, you do lots of little short journeys, especially in winter, you're going to be seeing lower efficiency figures, of course, because you're heating the cabin and such like. But nonetheless, I'm going to put the Cupra Born as a usable range, especially in longer trips of 200 to 230 odd miles without too much trouble at all. And then we saw, you know, reasonable charging speed, just a 10-minute stop there, topped up quite nicely. So if you make a 30-minute stop, have some coffee, tea, a bit of lunch, something like that, you can recharge at a pretty good speed as well. So that's about that for the efficiency of the Cupra Born on the test and those conditions on that day. A few first impressions of the car as I promised. Like I say, second video will follow a bit more detail and review. There's obviously some real distinct similarities between this and the ID3. It is a bit firmer. It's got a standard, a lower suspension compared to the ID3. and it's also got a slightly different sort of faster steering rack apparently. It does have that firmer edge to it, that kind of slightly more sporting feel, you would say, to it. Some nice details and trims on the interior, but there's a few little bits that were a bit more irritating as well. So there's some pros and cons there, and I think we'll cover that in more detail on the second review video. So stay subscribed, stay tuned, hit the like button below, comment if you can, and stay subscribed for the next video with some more detail on this Cooper coming soon. Lane assist is on every time, which is a bit annoying. 200 horsepower rear-wheel drive. On the wet roads, it gets a little bit...
On the wide roads, yeah.
A little bit lively at the back if you wanted to. Do you know one annoying thing if you're in the back of these on a hot day?
No air vents.
There's no air vents. As a family car, why would you not put even just one air vent here? There's a perfect little slot. That's annoying. It's got to be lined up. Oop. The headrest actually section here is quite squishy. Quite like that. That's nice for comfort as I lay back here. I'm pretty sure this has got more road raw than the ID3. The ride's quite hard around town on this, isn't it? But here on the motorway, this is right.
I'm on.
Other than that, nice car.